to a show.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Off the Mats Podcast. And it's me, it's Dante. I said I would stop introducing myself because you guys have been here for 230 plus episodes. You know who it is, but sometimes I like saying my name. Anyhow, so this week on the podcast, I would like to welcome a new guest. So, sometimes I have returning guests. Sometimes I like to bring in new guests. And this is one of those ones where I bring in a new guest. We got the chatting on Instagram as I meet most of my guests. I think that's how the world works. Everybody functions through Instagram now. Maybe there's some other cool social media. I don't fucking know. But Instagram it is for me. And I don't know, jiu-jitsu is the common link. And then it just sounds like, as we're kind of chatting back and forth, it's like, wait a minute, this guy's a nerd like me. We're gonna get along. Come be on the podcast. So I want to welcome to the podcast today, Mr. Pete, or if you're on Instagram, you can call him Whitey Mouse. What's up, Pete? How you feeling, my friend?
Hey, Dante, I'm doing well. I'm doing really good. Very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
No. Thank you for making the time. Like I always say, that, if you make time to be my guest, I'm extremely happy because time is something that isn't, we don't always have a lot of it, with just life. So thank you for breaking out some time for me.
Absolutely. Always. It's kind of funny, this getting ready for all this. The last couple of days I've been focusing on it. I've been practicing a little bit. I used to do a podcast a couple of years ago with a friend. And so it's been a little bit of getting back on the bike has been a bit of a minute, but it's taken a bit of a minute rather. And it's nice. I've been building up to this, but all night last night, all I could think about was everything's going to go great tomorrow. Everything's going to go great tomorrow. Everything's going to go great tomorrow. And 15 minutes before we set to record, I'm sitting in the parking lot at my jiu-jitsu gym thinking to myself, everything's going to go great today. Everything's going to go great today. But I didn't know, something just told me I had to go home. It didn't tell me why. I got home. I keep two phones, one for all my social media and one for my actual life. Nice. And so that one so the social media one is dead. It has no connectivity to the world. It only connects to the Wi-Fi at home. It's the only Wi-Fi it's got access to. So if I take it anywhere, it's just it's a brick. I can use it I've got a survival guide on it. That's on it. Actually, physically on it. Go ahead.
I've been wondering what to do with my other phone upstairs because it's just sitting there, and I was gonna wipe it and give it to my daughter for around the house, but holy shit!
Best case scenario, it's a battery pack. Ooh. Yeah, it's a battery pack for my other phone. I've got one of the USB-C to USB-C. Boom, bam, with the new iPhone because I had to get the new thing. Something in my 8 chimp brain was just like, I have to get that new thing. It's pretty. The pictures, like the Northern Lights. You saw the Northern Lights pictures I took. Those were gorgeous. I could see a faint green with my naked eye, but as soon as I opened up that infrared camera, whoa! And check out my Instagram if you guys want to see those. Whitey_mouse. Not to plug myself. I'm only going to do it once.
Oh, well, I'm gonna get you at the end of the show too. So
appreciate it.
Don't worry about that.
So you're from Washington.
So we're what am I, about 45 minutes out of DC?
Yeah, cool.
So
yeah. So it's actually one of there's a place there called Ben's Chili Bowl. That's on my bucket list of places I want to go eat. It's a staple of the city, allegedly. So
I feel like I've heard of it. I've never been there. But it sounds familiar to some degree, but I probably saw something on Instagram about it.
Most likely, it's one of those I think it's just a social media famous place. But I like chili, and a couple of friends of mine were planning to go right before I got struck in a hit and run a year and a half ago, which is where my jiu-jitsu career, because that's our common lick, jiu-jitsu. That's how we started chatting. Thanks again, man. Your wiki kept me laughing. BJJ wiki, those memes are too funny. And I know I send you stuff all the time, but it's glad to Glad it goes both ways.
I mean, that's one of the things with Instagram, with social media, period, is, you know, it's funny. Some people, you know, a lot of folks get kind of bogged down by social media, and a lot of us, at least I can speak for myself on that. Like, I get pumped up by it because of the memes, the funny, and it's like, you know, when I get content sent from you, my teammate. Oh my god, the chat thread between my teammate and I is it's a disaster. You don't know what you're getting, and like, I have a buddy who I do another podcast with. Anytime he sends me something, and it's not too often, but I'll get a message from him every maybe 4 or 5 days, and I know I have to wait to open it because it's like, I don't know what might be in this message. It could either be, you know, midgets wrestling in Jello, or it could be, you know, someone getting hit by a car, or it might be a twerk video. Surprise, you know. And once in a while, he'll send me some martial arts stuff, and it's like, but I just never know. So when I see his name pop up, I'm like, oh, brace yourself. Open up in 15.
Yeah, I've got a friend like that as well. You never know what they're going to send. There's probably a handful. I'd probably say a handful of guys that I just, every once in a while, I leave them on red for a little while. I don't even open it. I just hit the mark all as red because, again, those little red spots just bug me. It's either red or red. Both bother me. Oh, I feel bad for the transcript.
I sometimes, like, I'll take like a Thursday evening, because I do have quite a few that it's just like it'll pile up. And I'm like, okay, I'll sit down Thursday evening and just go through all the messages. And I'm like, okay, now I'm caught up. And knowing the weekend's coming up, so it's just about to fill up again, because that's where most people send me stuff, is during the weekend. I'm like, oh, okay, this is exhausting. But you know, it's still a fun ride, because this is how I interact with a lot of people, and where I meet most folks is through. I have teammates I only talk to through Instagram. I need to talk to them when we're in the gym. Like, we tap hands and bump and go, and we don't talk, but we'll get back on like Instagram or Facebook Messenger, and it's just, you know, chat away.
It's always good to have different strokes for different folks, right? It's always good to have different friends and different circles. But I've started, part of me's in that phase of my life where I want to say no new friends. Like, I'm almost 40. I've got enough on my plate as it is. I've got enough nieces and nephews, as well as my buddies' kids now, because all my friends have kids. So I've got nieces and nephews in air quotes. That, again, I love every single one of them with all my heart, because I don't have any of my own. I'm not planning on having any of my own. It's just how life worked out. But I pour everything I have into those kids, and I can't remember why I started talking about them. That's going to happen a lot, man. I got hit by a car, so brain's a little scrambled. I tangent and forget why I got there. I used to be really good at coming back, but all roads lead north.
Well,
to Rome?
hey, I mean,
all roads lead to Rome.
like, what, you know, whatever works with you. I'm here. I'll keep pace. I got you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, see, like, by your setup, it's like, you know, your setup says to me, it's like, oh, this isn't just some regular dude. Like when you mentioned you had a podcast before, it's like, I can tell. Like, it's like, I'm looking at your mic arm there, the headphones. It's like, okay, this isn't his first rodeo. This guy knows what's up.
No,
so.
I had a podcast for a while called Talking Tactical Podcast. That one there, TTP. It was paintball related. My friend and I were pretty. I was very deep into paintball. It's kind of a strange sport. It's got a lot of arms that are, some of them are shorter than others. There's a professional, like, speedball arm that you see, the inflatables and the fast pace. That's one section, and then there's a milsim tactical section as well, which is where I fell into really, really heavily. I actually don't. Yeah, that's where all the patches are paintball, and then those and big games, which is where paintball really makes any of its money, is in the big game. So a field will just be like, hey, let's get 2,500 players out on our field, and we'll make up a big force on force game. And I used to host those things or lead teams. This is actually funny. I didn't even. Happy accident. Essen Estente was our first team. Too tall. My buddy Alex. He's the only one of us who's still working in the paintball industry today. He's Sergeant Splatters Paintball in Toronto, I believe. Shout out to them.
Nice.
He's probably one of the best. But yeah, so started out, this was 2012, 2011. Let you tell me. Was it 2012?
Oh,
Yeah.
2012.
2012, yeah. So it's been, over a decade. So it's been great. But I got out of like most things. I've got some kind of undiagnosed something, which makes me really good at jiu-jitsu and really good at getting really good at things. So like 3D printing, cosplay, paintball, patches, the banana. Love that. It says, "This is my banana. There are many like it, but this one is mine." It's my absolute favorite patch of all time. And then they have another one. I've lost it, but it was a peach from what was that movie? With Nicolas Cage. I could eat a peach for hours.
Oh, Face Off.
Face Off, yeah. So I helped design that one. It was so bad. So bad. I love those guys. Patchpanel.ca. Those guys were the best. It's for all my stuff. They have like I believe they have law enforcement and government contracts. Like they're not some like group of guys who just fly by nighters who buy all their shit from China. Like they laser cut their stuff in house in Peterborough. It's all like as you need it. Some of the best times of my life were training with those guys, playing with those guys. Just like jiu-jitsu. See, paintball. I started the same way. One day I passed by a place and was like, "Huh, that looks kind of cool." Look it up on YouTube. Look it up. Look up a couple of people who play on it, because they've got, at the time, not unlike jiu-jitsu, everybody's got their own social media, their own YouTube channels where they've got head-mounted cameras, and it's like battle footage that we're watching now of the Ukrainian war. But back, this is 10, 15 years ago, guys playing paintball with helmet-mounted cameras, sweeping and clearing buildings. And I was like, "Oh, I'm hooked. That's my thing." CQB, nice and tight, Milsim style stuff, 20 rounds, none of that big hopper throwing paint down fields love that because it's just money. They pay $40, $50 a box, and then they charge $200-$300 for them. And they at the back end, it's kind of it's a racket up here. There's actually there's insider trading. There's all kinds of allegations going on up here, but Canada's rife with that kind of shit. Like TD Canada Trust just got busted with money laundering, criminal money laundering by the United States. So one of our biggest banks is a criminal entity. It's hard. Even our maple syrup. There's a movie coming out about the maple syrup mafia of Quebec. Fun fact. It's coming next month to Amazon. Huh. Fun fact.
Huh. I'm interested in that just because
everybody thinks we're such nice people up here, but we're really not. We are really not. Like one of the people I played paintball with was involved. There was a massive Mexican gun running ring between Mexico and Toronto, Canada. And one of the guys I played paintball with was a member of that ring. It was wild times. I've met and been around some pretty interesting people.
That's the cover up. It's like, hey, yeah, we're all really nice up here. We're really nice up here, and then bodies go missing.
Yeah. Bodies go missing. There's a lot of water. There's a lot of open land. Like we all live close to the border, and then whatever happens up north stays up north. The Wendigos take it from there.
I didn't have any plans to, stop through Canada, but as you start mentioning this now, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to definitely just make sure we just don't stop by. I just got my passport recently, and it was because I found out Iceland is a 6-hour flight from Baltimore. And I was like, oh, and the tickets were pretty cheap. And I was like, and I says to my wife, I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and get a passport. She was like, why? I was like, I can go to Iceland. She was like, do you want to go to Iceland? I was like, not really, but I mean, why not? It's 6 hours.
What if?
It's a shorter, the flight, like the drive to go back home to Detroit is about 10 hours for me. A flight to Iceland is 6. Yeah. Let's just go to Iceland.
That's sort of like my partner and I, we just booked tickets to Casa Bonita in Denver, Colorado for New Year's. So we're gonna spend
Casa Bonita.
Casa Bonita. As well, because we watched the documentary that they filmed about the rebuild of it, and we looked at each other and we're like, okay, let's see about reservations. Oh, reservations don't open until yesterday. So as reservations are popping open, we're sitting on the couch and it's like, do you wanna? Well, what do you? Okay, I don't have anything planned for New Year's. Do you have anything planned for New Year's? Okay, so Aspen for New Year's, and then we'll hit up Casa Bonita the next day. Why not? Let's do it. And then here we are. We're going to Casa Bonita for New Year's Day. It's gonna be great. Gonna be great.
Nice.
I don't travel much, but again, 3 hours. It's gonna be a 3 hour flight. That's the point I was making.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like if I see something, it's like, oh, that seems like a short enough trip. Why not? Yeah, we don't do a whole lot of traveling ourselves, just like work wise. And like my wife and I, our families never really traveled a lot. I mean, my family, we go back to Detroit, from time to time to see family, or we go down to Florida to see family down there, but we never did a lot of traveling. So, and if we did, it was like within driving distance, like an hour, 2 hours away. So,
Same.
as we're older now, it's just still something built into us. And my daughter last night actually says, Dad, one day, can we go to the Bahamas? It's like, okay, that's my grandma's from the Bahamas. I don't think she knew that, but it's like, that's really random. Like one day, maybe one day, baby, but like
Nice.
that's wild.
It's a good, it's good that she wants to. Wanderlust is something that should be nurtured. I really believe that, but always return home at the end. Like let your kids stray, but as long as they know that home is safety, you can't go wrong. That's what I've tried to always culture with my nieces and nephews. Like I said, I've got a huge family. Is that like Uncle Pete's is always safe. You can always come back to Uncle Pete's. I will always tell it to you straight. If you messed up, I will tell you messed up. I will. If there's something you need real advice, I'll give you the real advice. The shit that your friends, your family, your mom and dad won't tell you. I'll tell it to you straight. Love me or hate me. You're getting the sharp edge of the knife. You came to me. You're getting it. That's just how I've always kind of been. Very, 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 very good at giving advice. Terrible at taking it.
Oh yeah.
Terrible.
I mean, like I don't know that I take. I mean, that's probably why my jiu-jitsu is where it's at.
It's probably why I'm on your podcast. I've made like I dropped all my social media, and then I got this new nickname. And as soon as I got the chance, I was like, maybe I'll get back on that Instagram. Maybe I'll start. And then you start hitting me up for a podcast, and I was talking to Matt
from
talking to Matt.
Host Nation.
We've been on, so hopefully I'll get on him in a couple of weeks. Maybe that'd be great. Love to chat. I'd love to get on as many podcasts as possible, because listening to you guys talk was like a masterclass on how to be on a podcast. Keep engagement, keep going. But I was kind of thinking about keeping my face off. I'm a whitey mouse. I've kept my face kind of, except for my Matt footage. I've kept my image kind of quiet. I don't like sharing myself too much, but I mean, here I am. Here's my voice. You guys can hear it live and loud. Love y'all.
I mean, you see me here. I'm hiding behind the microphone.
I did notice that. Yeah. I haven't seen you. I've never seen you smile. All I've seen is you're like backwards Batman in every way.
It's like I don't know. I've just never been comfortable with cameras, and I was actually just talking to a friend a few hours back. They're talking about, they just had a child recently, and they're happy, so they're posting pictures, and they're like, well, I've been pulling some of the pictures down, and I explained how early on there was a lot of pictures of my kid, and then I looked at my personal Facebook, because that's mostly where I would put pictures, and I realized I have a lot of friends on Facebook, like the usual social media. Oh, we met in passing, we met at this event, let's be friends. And then now I'm looking, it's like, that's a lot of friends, and I don't know that many people. So
you're pretty sure, like I whittled down 2,500 friends down to 135 now on Facebook. Because like I said, paintball, I was just collecting friends like Pokemon. Like, oh hey Pete, I met you at this game here. You did great. You want to be friends? I was like, yeah, sure. So that when the next one came, I was a promoter. I was always promoting. I was always throwing stuff up my Facebook. If it wasn't for the podcast, it was for the field. It wasn't for the field, it was for the next game I was going to be playing. Like, fields were hitting me up to it was called general. Like, you're either the general or the second in command. So either the general was hitting me up to 2IC, or vice versa. XO, is that what it's called up there? You got CO and XO, commanding officer and executive officer. I don't know. Up here it's IC and 2IC, but in command and second in command. That makes, I mean, I don't know.
That makes sense.
Whatever. Where was I going with that? I don't know, another tangent there. Go on forever.
It's fine.
I love it. No, I love it. It's so much fun. It's like following a. I always tell people, man, don't follow me. I'm lost too. I don't know where I'm going, and if I do know where I'm going, it's because I got a GPS. But land nav. You want to talk about land nav? Throw me a map and a compass. I can get anywhere. But
we went out the other night. I don't normally go out, but Friday night, why not? And there's a Transformer convention in town. So some friends were at the convention. I was just going to meet up afterwards. Like, I'm a nerd, but I mean, Transformers, that's not my world, but I still love all the people there. We hang out. So there's an after party, we go to the party, and then I had another friend meet us up afterward. And, we're roaming through the streets of Baltimore. And I was like, all right, well, my car's back this way because I park in a very uncomfortable area for most people, but I feel relatively confident that no one's going to fuck with my beat up car. They look at my car and they're like, do not steal from that car because it was still back. So just leave it alone.
That car wears black Air Force Ones. Be careful.
Like, you see
It'll
my car,
steal your wallet and help you look for it.
Like, my car, you see it, they're like, just cross the street.
Yeah, I hear you.
Away from that one. Like, it's something will go wrong. But we ended up roaming through like the alleys and all types of like bizarre things. And then as I'm walking, there's a group of people following me. I stopped and I was like, dude, it's wild that you guys are following me. Like, because my car's back this way, but I can't be certain that I took the right path to get back. I just know we'll get there. I just don't know when. Because my buddy who does my other podcast with me, he goes, you said your car is 10 minutes back this way. I was like, give or take. Like, we've been walked for like 15 at that point.
Sometimes maybe 10, sometimes maybe 10 minutes, 10 times over. Huh? I lose track.
We'll get there. We did get there. It was just, not in 10 minutes. And we went through the alley and stepped on a couple dead rats. But yeah, never follow me. I'm not the one to lead. It's I'm not like, because half the time I don't like, if you let me like just kind of go on my own, I'm going to find an adventure for me. But if you're following me for any specific reason, the adventure is going to be fine for me, but I don't know how it's going to work out for you, just because I'm prepared for goofiness. And most folks are like, why are there like so many dead rats back here?
Always down to clown. The funnier, the weirder the story, the better. The reason why I did so well on a podcast is I have a story for everything. And it's also a little bit of the AD ADHD. Something's going on up there. The audio is not all right. My brain, the wired not good, finds connections and links between everything. I've got a story for literally everything. It makes for great stories, but you have to experience stuff. But that comes back to the travel. Like, I've lived a great life in Canada. I've gone back and forth between every province, every province. I haven't been north of the territories yet. They're cold and dark, and again, Wendigos and polar bears. Oh my!
No, thank you.
No, not for me. I love going south. I lived a couple years in Southwest Missouri with my dad for a little while. I lived a little while, couple months in Southwest Missouri with my dad. Lived all over. Got a house in North Carolina with my mom, and a trailer down with my grandfather in Florida. So like bounce around every once in a while. It's fun. I love traveling. You need to build stories. You need to meet people. And I had a friend who's from South Africa who said he always could tell the Americans because they start talking, just unwarranted, just verbal diarrhea about everything from the weather to you've got really nice shoes. And that's how we can tell an American and a Canadian. It's like, well, yes, because they just want to know. They want a story. They want something like, hey, I met a South African guy in Russia. We had a nice conversation about something. That's a story to them. They can go home and tell their friends. It's nothing to you, but for them, like that's something that they're going to think about. And it's a good thing. So just let it happen. And I've taken that around the world. I had a buddy who's in Toronto's turning into the rest. It's turning very European, where people are just, they shut down. They walk past you. They don't say anything. You say hi. They almost like the old fashioned New York, everything right down to the getting flipped off for no fucking reason. It's fantastic. I lived downtown right up to COVID. And then I lasted 2 months of lockdowns in the major city and was like, I'm out of here. Shut down. Actually fell into kidney failure. That was great. Bad nutrition. Always eat your vegetables, kids. Always.
Yes.
I went to kidney failure from just a high protein diet. I wasn't getting the right nutrients. Went to kidney failure. Spent 2 months in hospital, and then spent the rest of COVID up north at my mom's cottage. It was fantastic. It was great, beautiful. And then work picked back up. Yeah. What did I work on? Disaster movie. It was some disaster movie. No, it was Nightmare Alley with Bradley Cooper, Guillermo del Toro. Right after COVID in April, I came back to that and I slipped a disc in my back. Coming up on the anniversary of that, actually, November 13th, because it was the Friday the 13th. We had our film, everything shut down, like the NBA shut down Friday the 13th of March, and then Friday the 13th of November, I slipped a disc in my back and was out on medical for 5 months. And somewhere in that line, I got my dog and started walking again, started getting my physical fitness back, because I just kind of been like healthy fit my whole life, just kind of lived a life of somewhat healthy. And I tried the carnivore diet just to be like, oh, get the carnivore diet. I got nothing better to do but sit around at home and eat. So I'll eat meat all day.
Sounds like a good ideal until it's not.
until you're back. So if your back starts hurting and you start vomiting what looks like coffee, go to the hospital, kids. Go to the hospital. Coffee grounds. It's called coffee ground emesis. Literally looks like you took a cup full of coffee grounds and then threw it up. It's blood that's congealed in your stomach. It's that was from kidney failure. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Good times.
I can tell.
I eat really well now. I eat incredibly well. My partner's a nurse who's obsessed with nutrition. So like as soon as I started fighting, as soon as I started jiu-jitsu, she was like, all right, well, we're gonna up this, we're gonna up that. You're gonna eat so much collagen, you're gonna hate the taste of collagen. Your water is gonna be like soft jello. You're gonna have so much collagen. Because I'm old. I'm 40 years old. I'm gonna start a combat sport. I needed it, and I did need it. I just got hit by a car, and I didn't have therapy. Everything was getting denied by my insurance company, so I needed something. I needed an outlet. I needed something because I was sitting at home going crazy. I just kept driving past, just like my paintball story. Just kept driving past this place, and one day I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go in. Gracie's the best. Everybody says, if you're going to learn Gracie. One form of Gracie jiu-jitsu. Don't go to a place that's like, mom and pop MMA, and they teach jiu-jitsu as well as karate on the side. Like, find a real place. Like, I found a place. Professor Lewis is a 4th degree black belt. He's solid. We had within the first month of me being there, it was like, oh, bulletins that Master Hoyler is going to be here, and then David Adid. And then we have a local Cameron. I can never get his last name. It's long and Eastern European of some kind. I can't. I'm so bad. It ends in ski of some kind. I feel so bad, Cameron. I'm sorry, but he again, same thing. He trains down with Donaher and his crew, so he came up. So I'm getting these phenomenal seminars, one after the other. I'm like, I'm hooked. This is it. This is my new home. I'm making friends. Coach Todd, our resident barbarian. Shout out to him. One day leans in and goes, you'd be pretty good with the kids. Would you mind? I'm starting up a kids comp team. You want to help out? So didn't go well for starters. A little shaky. I'm not good with kids. I swear a lot. It's a crutch. The F-bomb is a crutch word for me. But it's been again, therapy with the rest of jiu-jitsu, learning how to talk to people again, learning how to be a normal civilian, even just my first full class that I was like, I didn't swear once. I swore twice. And Coach Todd turned to me and was just like, how about 0 next time? Like, why celebrate being a good person? Like, just do better. But he didn't mean it like that. But the way, just his delivery. And then like next week, he's like, dude, I was really hard on you. I'm kind of sorry. It's like, no, it's good, man. I needed it. That was the little punch in the gut that I needed. Like, saying it twice is twice too many, Yeah. I need it. Those are kids, these kids shouldn't be. Anyways, molding young minds, swearing no bueno. It's been good. It's been good learning, like all the way through. My biggest problem, Mr. Curtis, the junkyard dog, big monster. It's like Todd, Curtis. They're on the same level. They're these two monsters that just keep me on my toes, but they always, go for breakfast after, beat the snot out of each other, and then, hey man, you want to go for breakfast after? Yeah, sit down, have our eggs and bacon, not even talk about jiu-jitsu. And then every once in a while we'll pull up the phone. Hey, did you see the match with whatever XYZ versus ABC? And just shoot the shit for a while. Love it. It's off the mats. Off the mats is just like paintball. Same thing. Everybody says it's not always about the rules. Rules are great. It's good to get the stress out, but it's also great to connect. Like, it's nice to know that there's somebody else out there who also just wants to connect, who just wants to talk to people. And that's what I found with a lot of people that I roll with. Is they just want to talk to somebody. A lot of the guys are young, 20-something guys who are lonely, who, unfortunately, a lot of them are very disenfranchised with a lot of things. They don't want to date anymore because the dating culture has become so bad that now they're pouring their life into combat sports, and they're becoming these savages, 24, 25 years old, 140 pounds, but just they're built like chimps. Like, they're just corded steel. Their muscles are just, I hate it. And I keep up to them. I'm lucky I had a wrestling background in high school. So I had a little bit of, could keep my sprawl. I could keep myself up. I could keep the judo guys off my back a little bit for a while until I made a mistake and, brought my feet together. But that's always the thing, is that I knew when I was making a mistake, because that's all the two of us would be. And anytime I get one of the judo kids that are in our school get side to side, I keep trying to keep low. They keep trying to get me high. Try to keep low. They try to keep me high. And it's just, and as soon as one of us makes a mistake, one of us is on our ass. It's so much fun. I love it. It's just a constant battle of growth.
Yeah. How long have you been training?
It has been a year and July of last year, July 2023. Okay. Yeah, nice. So I got hit by the car. It's actually serendipitous too. The guy, when I was a kid, I started paintball very young, like 9-10 years old. Two guys that lived in my basement. They had a little garage band, and I just heard this like thup, 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 whack, fuck, in the backyard one night. So I was like, what the hell's going on? So I tootle out back, and they're running back and forth from a shed to a tree that we happen to have in the back 40 in the backyard. And they're like, hey, Pete, you're small and fast. Same idea. Run from one side to the other, get shot, overact. Because I'm a little kid. And they're like, it's a lot of fun shooting you. And then they give me the gun. And they learned the hard way real quick. But the gentleman who did that actually passed away July 8th of last year, just a few days before I started jiu-jitsu. And he gave me that day, sorry, I'm getting a little choked up. He gave me the nickname Mouse all those years ago. And it was something that I kind of like, I scoffed at. I hated it. They're picking on me as a little kid, but to them, I was a little mouse. If I had a little kid at my age, a little 9-year-old kid running around doing better than me at paintball, I'd take the piss out of him too and call him a silly little name like that. So as an adult, it warms my heart. And then to have my coach, for the trade-off, the guy who got me into one sport passed, and then the guy who's keeping me in this sport just piped up after a little, the story's on my Instagram, after a little run-in with a mouse at my gym. We should call you Mouse. I started crying immediately because it just didn't mean anything to him, but it was just this, it was weird. Serendipitous, like the something saying, hey, you got to go to that. You got to go home for some reason tonight. I didn't know why, but and then Coach Mike piped up Whitey Mouse because Mighty's already taken. I was like, I'll take it. I don't want to take anything away from Johnson. He's the GOAT. He's the fucking best. I'm just humbled that I got called Mouse, and it has nothing to do with him. I love it. Whitey was just the little white little. I'm not the spazzy white belt. Luckily, I'm the white belt they let roll with the women. It's like, he's good. He knows what he's doing. He's gentle. He can control himself. I'm lucky, but as soon as I got the chance, I made an Instagram handle with BJJ. No, I'm waiting for my blue belt, which I just found out today is next week, which is phenomenal for me. Yeah, I'm scared. because we do Shark Tank ceremonies. Blue
Mm.
belt's 10, purple 15, brown is 20, and then black is a 30-minute Shark Tank. You can either have it 10 fresh 10, 15, 20, 30 people fresh 1 minute each, or 2 minutes each, and then cut the number of people in half, 5, so on and so forth. And it's I'm sweating just thinking about it. I love competition. I love that stuff. Like a 5-minute competition round to me is an hour. It feels like I've ruled for a full hour. 4.5 minutes. I am drained. I'm sucking back Gatorade, praying for daylight, if you understand my meaning. And then the next round comes up. That's one thing I loved about paintball competition too, is we would do force on force style games in CQB fields that I designed and built out of Georgina Paintball in Georgina, Ontario. If you ever like to paintball in Canada, it's a great place. Outdoors, big woods. Anyway, so I built a tack town, and we would run force on force 5v5, not unlike the video games that I started out playing as a kid as well. Rainbow Six, Rope Spear, games like that. And it was like 5v5, force on force CQBs, little tack town, second stories, there's buildings. And now with jiu-jitsu, it's the same. There's just force on force, one-on-one. You're sitting out on the sidelines and you're watching the other team. You're checking the cameras. You're seeing how, oh, wow, that guy, watch out for number 4. Number 4 likes to, whatever, sweep right every time. Okay, ooh, this round, number 4 did this and this. It's the same idea. Okay, round 4, this guy, wow, he went for this trip this time. He went the same trip that time. Okay, so if I have to go up against him, I got to watch out for that. Be sure, I love it. I love the mental game the whole time. It's just always. And then sometimes I have to sit out right before my match. I have to sit out, headphones in, block the world out. I put a little sign up that says, my name is this. My fight time is this. Please don't bother me, because they're always walking around like bugging anybody in a gi. Hey, what's your name? 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 So I've got a little sign that's got my name on it. No, I know that my fight is at this time. My wife will tell me if there's anything changes, because I have a little bit of autism. So when I get bothered, when I'm in a focus mode, it just throws me off. It throws me right for a loop. It's like throwing a stick in the bike, because I could be going over my last match in my head, and then it's all gone. I missed it. I lost it, and I won't be able to get it back, which is it's a fun superpower to have with a combat sport.
Well, yeah, you getting hyper focus, getting in your zone, I think is super important for your game, because some of us that's not, we're too wrapped up in everything else around us versus, getting in that zone. So you being able to get there, I think is important and a big key, to your success. So, can't knock that.
And luckily, I came out on top both matches in my last tournament, and the next one is at the end of the month, which for the first time they figured out separate the kids and the adults tournaments. So we've got the kids tournament on the Saturday. So myself, Coach Todd, Coach Bobby, Coach Mike, we can all get out there. We can focus. One of us can get in with every kid. I can't, unfortunately, because I'm not a blue belt yet. I can't actually get in and coach, but I can still yell from the sidelines. And the kids, and Todd and I have very good drill voices. So the kids have learned to listen for the deep drill voice. You understand. It's just got that. It just cuts through the whole crowd. Everybody goes quiet. When Coach Todd starts yelling, clasp your hands, everybody goes quiet. You go, what does that mean? It's so mean. I forgot what. I love seeing the kids' faces when they're like, oh shit, that's for me. It's great. It's so much fun, because you can see the kids sometimes their coach is yelling stuff, but every coach is yelling something. And when there's 2 matches side by side, you can hear every other coach. So it's all just white noise. But when it comes to Coach Todd, his voice just cuts through like a knife, and I love it. But yeah, so they separated kids and adults. So we get to get all that done. The kids get to go home. We got a hotel for the night. Go back to the hotel. We're not drinking. We're not doing anything. We're going to hit the gym after the comp, relax, chill out, hit the hot tub, hopefully, and just try to decompress as much as we can. Cause tomorrow we're going to war, get the steak and the lobster done.
Oh yeah.
It's good because we can't do that when we've got the duel. We've got our own fights to worry about. And then the kids, because the way they always line it up is the kids finish and then the highest belt starts next. And the black belts are going, and then the browns and the whites are always last. So I know I'm good. I know I've got till the end of the tournament. I can tell my friends, don't worry about showing up to like 5 or 6. We're good. Oh, but the tournament starts at 10 for the 5-year-olds.
Yeah. You can get there at 10 if you want, but let me tell you, it's going to be a long day.
A lot of spazzy kids crying. You know what though? There's always that one kid that like he tried. He tried. He made the effort. He got out onto the field, and he didn't like it. So he got hurt, or he saw someone else get hurt and he got scared, or it happens. There's always that one, and you gotta nurture. You got like, hey, you know what? No problem. Good. You got scared. Good. Now you know what you're afraid of. Now you know what we can work on. Now you know what you can tackle next time. I don't mean to quote Jocko, but like that's a solid good. Every time I fail, let's fucking, yeah, good. Okay. It sucks. Cool. Now what?
Like you build from that.
Absolutely. You either build from it or you fall apart and you have nothing. True.
Well, I mean, like you said, you get the kid out there who, they see someone get hurt or they get hurt, and it's not for everyone. For sure, not for everyone. I mean, I say it's not for me. I get hyped for my teammates. I'm excited for them. Like, dude, I think I want to do this, and then it starts screaming like, I don't think I want to do this. But I love when they do it because I'm that cheerleader. I got you. But
I will scream your name until my throat is hoarse. I love cheering my friends on. Like a rising tide raises all ships. Like the more I help you, the more you're gonna help me. The better you get, the better I'm gonna get. It's amazing. I love a good tight knit family.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's the important thing with this community. Whether it be on the mats, off the mats, through social media, building together. It's like again, talking to my friend earlier today, they're going through some turmoil right now in their training. And I told them, look, you're on the shelf right now. I'm having some issues myself, with my own, I'm in love with jiu-jitsu again. I'm back out there. I love it again. But, I'm still kind of getting my stride back. And I told this friend, I was like, well, look, next year's our year. We're going to push each other. I got you, you got me. And that's what this community is about.
Absolutely.
In gym, out gym, wherever you may be. If you got somebody that's doing this, cheering you on, supporting you, got your back, motivating you and telling you where you're fucking up. Because that's the thing too. You don't want somebody telling you, "Oh, you're doing great. You're doing great," when you're clearly not.
Yeah.
You need somebody to tell you, like, "Hey, man, like you're a little fucking lazy out there."
Yeah.
I see, because I am. I'm for sure lazy, and I need my teammates. Like, like when you're passing, why are you fucking passing on your knees? Like, what are you fucking doing?
Yeah.
Like,
oh well, what if? No. What if you know better? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yeah. Flow chart. Let's play the fucking flow chart. Yes or no? Do you know better? Yes. Then why'd you do it?
Yeah. Get it together.
Let's go.
I mean,
yeah.
And we
Off
need
your
that.
Knees. Yeah.
We all need that. To each other. You see someone fucking up, you let them know.
Everyone likes an asshole until it's pointed in their direction. Those are literal words that I live by. I will always give it to my friend straight. Like, I'll be funny about it. I'll joke. I'll be like, you fucked up pretty big, bud. Let's fix it. But I grew up with my dad was, I don't know. I don't know the truth to be. I don't know the truth. My dad grew up very militant. If you have a problem, try and solve it yourself first. Like, come to me with a problem with 2 solutions. If you can't, don't try. Like don't come to me at all, which was kind of a bad way to raise a kid, but it taught me to be a problem solver. I may have lit a few fires trying to get light because, back then I didn't understand how fire worked, but I still tried to solve the problem myself. and I don't remember. Anyways, but you can't always rely on other people. You got to learn how to rely on yourself. But you need people behind you that are willing to light the fire. That's where I was getting to with that are willing to light the fire underneath of you. That because you need it. Everybody needs it. We need cheerleaders. Everybody needs a cheerleader, even if it's your kids, your wife, your dog. Because your dog will always be your biggest cheerleader. It doesn't matter how bad you failed. Open mat, I get my ass handed to me. I spent the whole day bottom, tap into pressure. Curtis just north-south. He has this thing he always does where he traps my right arm because my left arm is blown. He traps my right arm, gets it behind my back, and I'm still working on the whole like butt scoot and get away with the shrimping and all that. But it's just his superpower. He just seems to get this thing going on. But he's holding me accountable, and every time he does it, I learn from it. I hate it. I hate him for it. I hate you for it. I'm telling you now, if you're listening, I hate you for this, Curtis.
And I think, with that too, it's like, those lessons that we take from it, the saying, you don't lose, you learn. I mean, that's just a thing. It's like you get your ass kicked enough, you got to start asking yourself why.
Yep.
And then you start putting it together and that's been kind of my thing, this year is I've been recording my rounds. Every roll I've been recorded on Saturdays at least. And
when we're allowed to.
And then like our Friday class, it's no gi and it's there's a lot going on. So I don't really there's not enough time for me to grab my phone, put the tripod up, and then record what's going on. So it's like, you know what? Saturday though, we have a little bit more freedom. It's a longer class. So, things move at it's still moving fast paced, but I still have time. There's like a little bit of a gap in between where I can grab my phone, put the tripod up and get my rounds. So I record those and I go back and look and, I see myself getting my ass beat. It's like,
yeah.
What'd you do wrong there?
Yep.
Like, okay.
I got down on my knees. Why did I get down on my knees? I was just yelling at him for getting on his knees 10 minutes ago. Fuck, Don. Hey, get your shit together. It's an inner monologue. My mistake.
It's like we said earlier, though. It's like great at giving that advice, but terrible at taking it. So,
yeah.
There we have it. But like I said, with this community, that we build off of each other. There's the few strays that are very much like, I'm here for this. I'm not here to help nobody. I just want to get here, and it's very rare you get those. But
work with
most of us. We want to work together. We want to build together. I always look at it like, when I was a white belt, there's a few of us that came in together. And my first thought was, let's all get to blue belt together. Let's grow together. None of those guys were there by the time I got to my blue belts. And it was like, damn, dude. But you find your other components in that tribe.
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah. That I think that's kind of, that's that is perfect. Absolutely. The people who are meant to stick around. The ones that want to tough it out, the ones that have the integrity, the ones that have the perseverance, the ones that have the control, the ones that have the lifestyle that can do it, they stick around. And those are the ones, I mean, if they always say find like-minded people and surround yourself by them. I mean, you can do that either way. You can surround yourself with shitheads and become a shithead. What's that old joke? You can build a house with a hammer. You can punch yourself in the dick with it. Same. I don't know. You can do so much with these tools, but you have to have the right people behind you teaching you too. Because you can have, again, this is my first competitor. The gym that he went to was a McDojo. It was a mom and pop. The guy who runs it is, I don't even think, a purple belt. He unfortunately got really bad jiu-jitsu, and we're working on that. We're getting him into my gym now. But he got essentially scammed by a McDojo for a year and a half, who gave him no tips, who gave him no prospect of a blue belt of any kind. And now he's got to restart. He's got to go back to beginning. He was a phenomenal competitor. He kept me at bay long enough for me to figure out how to finish off that straight ankle. Oh man. I had to speed up the footage on that for 2.5 minutes in order and filled a whole slide on Instagram of just me trying to remember how to do a straight ankle lock. I worked that finish the whole 2 weeks before the tournament. I worked that finish as my sneaky last ditch effort. If they go for pulling guard, scoop a foot under my leg and just fall back. It foolproof, they're going to start kicking, take what they give you.
Yeah.
And the second my head hit the floor, the second my head fall back, I forgot how to finish it. It just, all that knowledge, all that hard work, all that training. It was the most embarrassing 2.5 minutes of my life. And I was so self-aware of it that I think at one point tried to break and sit up and was like, no, fuck this. I'm going to finish it. And sure enough, that's how we finished it. But yeah, I couldn't figure it out. And I kept going back to it and kept going back to it and kept going back to it, kept going back to it. Coach Todd's yelling, clasp your hands at the top of his lungs. And my chimp brain doesn't understand what that means. Clasp hands. His hands? Or do I hold his hands? I don't know. I forgot. But the setup was beautiful. Everything was beautiful. It looked so smooth, little slick, little roll of the wrist. And then I fumbled at the 40-yard, right at the 4-yard line. Every time. That's the story of my life. Fumbled the 4-yard line, but something saved the day for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think also too, in those moments, there's a lot going on. So it's like you can be as prepared as you want, but just sometimes, your brain locks. There's so many times, in the training room, it's like, okay, I have this, I got this, and everything's going right, and I get where I need to be. And it's like, how do I do a Kimura again? And it's like, oh, fuck. Like, yeah, I had a coach yelling at me last week. As I'm passing.
Is it his leg or mine?
Like, it's like, why is that hurting my ankle? I think I have his. It's like, no, that's yours. His foot is white. It's like, oh shit.
Hey.
But I had coach yelling at me last week, as I'm passing. He's like, all right, now, put your head in the stomach and, keep driving, keep going. I'm like, and I don't know why it was not computing. It was like, what? Like, what? It was like, and this is just the training room. So, at this point, there's no excuse that, we're taking our time and everything. But I mean, it happens. It happens. I mean, the fact that you saw it, you got the video, you look back on it, and now it's like, okay, how do we keep this from happening again?
Absolutely. That's exactly it. And the next 2 weeks was just like, okay, don't do it again. And everybody was like, well, keep Pete away from my feet. And that was kind of, yeah. And so that comes back to there's a point in jiu-jitsu where people, good hardworking people run into a wall of, and I've seen it happen time and time again. The blue belt club, like you said, people hit the blue belt and quit, or they sit there and they sandbag for the rest of their career. They don't want to progress any further because they're afraid. They hit the first hurdle and they stopped. And I remember you guys were talking two podcasts ago, the black belt who just received his black belt, and it was such a good point that he made about he got his black belt, but that's it. That's not it. Like he knew when he started, as soon as he got his purple belt, that he was going to get his black belt. And I knew as soon as I started rolling, and first time I started rolling with my eyes closed, and it just like, I was able to, my body was reacting and I wasn't telling it what to do. I was hooked. First time I shot my hand out and stopped a knee he was going to pass around over my head from north south. Like he was trying really hard to go around from side control to side control. My brain just knew before he even started the motion, he was winding up for it. And in that moment, I was hooked. I know one day I'll get my black belt. It's going to take 15, 20, 30 years. I don't care. It's going to happen one day. I always equate the blue belts like it. I keep hearing this, like, no more tips. You get your blue belt. You don't need tips anymore. It's belt to belt to belt. But the tips are so important. The accomplishment doesn't matter at this day and age, because we grew up in a day and age of participation trophies. We need them. We genuinely need them. Our brains need the little red ticks on our phone. It needs those constant, you did great. You're doing great. You're going to get there. You're going to get there. You got this. Even if it's not from your team, even if you've got a shitty team and you've got people who don't build you up that way, but you're still getting that rank, you still, in a way, are getting the affirmation you need. You're still getting the confirmation that you're doing a good job, that you're learning enough that these people are recognizing. You get recognition that you deserve in your own mind. And the blue belt's a great place to start. Great place to start. And it's learning to lose was easy. I've been losing my whole life. Learning to win is the hardest part. because I don't like to. I'm a very I'm an aggressive person, but I'm very gentle. I don't like to hurt people. Yeah, my biggest problem is I'll go to 85 on a submission, and I'll look at them, and just like, you're gonna tap, and then they slip out. It's like, okay, I guess I shouldn't have asked. Tap. What is it? I just tap, nap, or snap. Nobody rolls for free.
Well, like, I think there is a thing to, that though too, with me, and I just kind of got out of this mode of, if I'm in a good position, I say to myself, it's like, there's this internal monologue going on about, you don't deserve this. You didn't,
Imposter syndrome. Oh, don't even get me started. Part of me didn't even want to, when you asked me to do this podcast, the imposter syndrome is huge. Like, I'm new to jiu-jitsu. I'm a baby. I'm a little tiny mouse, and I admit that. I will always be. I will always be a tiny little mouse in a very, very big field of murderers, bobcats, and eagles, and guard pulling snakes. No, I'm actually the guard puller. Because of my wrestling background, I hated the feeling of being on my back. So that's exactly where I started. On my back, the last place I ever wanted to be as a wrestler, with my shoulders on the floor. I had nothing. As soon as my back, what you were saying, as soon as things would just be gone. But as soon as my back would hit the floor, gone. Nothing. I had no game. No idea. What is this Oompa? What is this Oompa thing? I have no idea. Oompa bridge. I know a bridge. I can bridge. But it was wild. It was so much. I was so hooked. I love jiu-jitsu, man. It's become my new just life. It's hard to say. Obsession isn't right. It's my new life.
I always think about the movie Point Break, when Keanu Reeves' character, Johnny Utah, he's now going undercover as a surfer. He goes by his surfboard, and the kid in the surf shop, he's sewn on the board, and they're talking back and forth. And then as Johnny's walking out, he goes, "Jiu-jitsu's the source." Or not jiu-jitsu, but surfing's the source. I always think about that with jiu-jitsu. Yeah. I'm like, jiu-jitsu's the source. Yeah, it's like this is our Point Break.
Absolutely.
Like, and a lot of us, we get into it, for our own reasons. One, like, hopefully, no one's getting sent in, like undercover rings or anything. But
there are, you get those drop-ins. The guy who's like, "Oh, I'm a white belt. I'm a white belt. I'm a white belt." And he's a fucking black belt judokan. Like, look at the way he moves. Look at the way he's standing. Look at his posture. Look at his feet. His feet don't come together. He has a rubber. Those people, like, we've had one or two. They're friends. They're always, anybody who comes into our gym, it's always a friend of one of our black belts. But they always played up. Oh, I don't know anything. It turns out homeboy's a world's champion, 3-time judokan who's like, "Oh, I don't know any jiu-jitsu, but you can throw us all on our ass really well."
Yeah.
And then we get a clinic on don't let the judokan stand you up. Keep it on the ground.
It's just those things though too. It's even those lessons. It's like, I may not know judo, but you get thrown enough, you start realizing, okay, at least I need to learn how not to get thrown across the room by this guy. It's kind of the same thing with the wrestlers. You get to a point when you get blast double enough, like, okay, what do I have to do to keep this dude from, hitting a sweep single, high crotch or anything, any of these things, what do I have to do? It's like, I may not become proficient in it offensively, but at least like learn how to nullify it a little bit. Like, make them go to their plan B and C. Always. Don't let them stick around for that plan A, because if you don't hit that plan A every time, you're their pet. That
has been the biggest hurdle with teaching the kids, is not to settle. Like, just like everything in life, kids, don't settle. Don't settle. As soon as you get set, doesn't matter, pro or con, you sweep them. They sweep you. As soon as that position starts, what's next? As soon as you fall into that position, what is next? Don't let them get set up. The second they set up, you're done. You got to make a whole new game. You're no longer in control. They are.
I mean, even as, let's say you're being swept. Let's say you're being thrown. While you're in the air, you got to be thinking, what next? Because when you hit the mat, you got to be ready to go. You got to be ready to recover. If not, on the way there. So
oh, that submission didn't work. He pulled out of that armbar. Well, I better sit on his fucking chest with everything I have, take the wind out of him, and slip back into side control. And like that was an inner monologue that happened. I went for an armbar within the first 2 minutes, failed it, and I had to get position back. I gave up a really good mount to go for that armbar, and the only thing I could think to do was take the wind out of his sails, quite literally. And sometimes in competition, you gotta plant a hip.
Doing the business.
Do the business. Yeah, give him the business. It's a good business. Was good. I don't know. I like hurting people, but I don't like hurting people. I'm morally opposed to it, but it's fun and easy. And some people, I have a brain inner, whatever you want to call it. Head canon of humanity, and ADD, ADHD, ADHD. These were the warriors of our race. These are the people that weren't meant to live past 21, 22. They're meant to live outside the box. They're meant to see, hey, maybe if we hide in that tree line instead of standing out in the open like the British regulars, maybe we'll have a better chance at survival. So I kind of have this like these people, and that's why they're so much harder to control. And it always with my recent therapies and through a lot of talk with my psychiatrist and psychologist, female autistics generally don't present until older in age, until they would be dead. If they were combat, if they were a battle maiden and or a shield maiden, and they were like kicking ass and taking names, nobody seems to know that doesn't present fully until they're in a late adulthood, when if they were warriors, they wouldn't be here anymore. Like I've spoken to so many other practitioners who've said, I never thought I'd live past 30. And here I am at 55. It's like, yeah, that's a common like stamp that a lot of people have, not unlike the baby clock, the maternity clock that women have. Like they hit 20 years old and they have to have a baby. Men hit 25 and they're like, I shouldn't be. This is just weird. Why am I here?
Yeah, around 26, that hit me.
Yeah.
I was like,
see, nobody told me about it. It just hit me one day. It's like, nothing feels right. It was like an existential crisis. And that's when I found, it's actually right when I fell into my next adventure, was getting into film and TV. My little pass, I was from Star Trek Strange New Worlds. The last big show I worked on. I worked as a special effects technician. Opening and closing the doors on the bridge of the Enterprise was my biggest failure, because sometimes I missed the call and the captain would be standing at the door and they didn't open. And fun fact, if you ever watch the original series and you see Kirk hit the wall, it's because the guy missed his cue. Fun fact. That's some inside baseball for you. But yeah, that was me. I got to do that job poorly for a couple of months back at the end of COVID, and then got into it that disaster film. But I think the horror film that we talked about. Did we talk about? I think we talked about it, because you're the horror guy. But Ready or Not, it was it's the only film that I actually can say that I have a credit on. But I didn't earn that very much. That was just the kid who ran around with the kid, 30-something-year-old guy. Youngest guy on the crew. I'm always the youngest guy on the crew. Blood was my thing. The way blood moves, what blood flows. I don't know. Just works for me. I did a lot of blood gags, blood cannons, a couple of years on a show called Shadow Hunters. It was on Netflix. It's a Disney property on Netflix back before the Disney Netflix schism, and we lost all the really good shows. So sad. But it was so got some good times. Got to, even just the short amount of time I was in film, that I've been in film rather, a lot has happened. Got to see a lot of strikes, major scares, all happened in the short amount of time that I was in film. And they always talked about these things like they were SARS, for example, was the last time, almost killed the film industry in Canada altogether, when we had those SARS outbreaks all those years ago. And
I didn't know that.
The old guys, when COVID was coming around, the old guys were like batting down the hatches, or like, guys, this could last years. Get ready for sitting on your hands, or this could last exactly like they say. It could be a 2-week lockdown, right? So the old grizzled sailors knew what to do, and luckily I happened to work with a crew of them, so I got lucky and I started saving my money, kept my lowered right down. Like I said, lowered right down to meat and no potatoes. I was eating bare minimum to try to just keep everything nice. And I had the money. It's not like I didn't have money. I wanted to stretch it and got lucky. Managed to stretch it until we came back. But yeah, wild times, man. So glad they're over.
Well, like we talk sometimes on the horror Instagram account, which is a weird thing to me because like I talk to like multiple people on like multiple Instagram accounts with like multiple conversations, like you and I will talk a horror on my horror account, and then we'll hop back over to BJJ Wiki and pass memes over there, and it's like,
oh
what
man,
the fuck is wrong with us?
You ever want to talk horror? We can talk horror too. I love horror, man. I never forget my first horror movie. I remember like growing up watching stuff like Night of the Living Dead and People Under the Stairs, and those were like horror movies. They were campy and cutesy. I remember, okay, real talk. I was scared of People Under the Stairs the first time because we had like creaky stairs when I was a kid. Going down them always freaked me out. The basement always freaked me out, and the thought of something grabbing my ankles after watching that movie lived rent free in the back of my head to this day. Lives rent free in the back of my head to this day. But the one that got me was the Grudge. When I think I was 15 or 16 when that came out. I went and saw it in theaters. I lived so my mom, we moved up north when I was young, lived alone, middle of nowhere, creaky old wooden house. God, I called my girlfriend and convinced her to let her family let me stay over. I was so afraid to stay at home alone after watching The Grudge. That was when I was hooked on like horror movies, something that could make me that irrationally afraid, and it's all fake, and I know it's all fake. I was hooked. That was like horror movies were, and then I was just gobbling them up and not sleeping for months on end. It's fantastic.
I watch a lot. Well, I mean, obviously, as you know, the other account with the podcast, the horror podcast, I watch a lot of horror, almost to a point where, like, when my wife is nice, that my wife is off from work, we catch up on TV shows, horror movies, whatever it may be. And there's some nights where it's just like, I'll just say, it was like, you want to watch a comedy? It's it's been like, a month straight. Like every night that you're off, for the last month, we watch a horror movie. And for me, honestly, I'm doing it for her benefit, because I'm like, you've got to be tired of watching horror. Me, I'm not. I like, after I get done this, I'm gonna put my daughter down for bed. I got some notes to do for the horror podcast tomorrow, and then I'm gonna put on Shudder and watch whatever's on Shudder. Like, when it's running live, I just watch whatever comes up. I think they put some new movies on there over the last couple nights, so I'm gonna check those out. But that's just the thing. It's like, you find that thing you like. We found jiu-jitsu, you find horror, you find paintball, you find, whatever it may be. And, you're going to have your communities within the communities.
Yeah. There's always a tribe within a tribe every time.
Yeah.
And that was another great book. If man, that started to sound like a Joe Rogan podcast. Tribe. That book is the shit. When I was getting out of paintball and losing friends, because I actively, like, they weren't really my friends. They were my paintball buddies. They were my friends on the field. I collected a handful of them that are still very close friends to this day. Some people I brought into the film industry with me. Some people not so much followed me into the film industry, but were right behind me joining the film industry as well. And of course, like I said, there's those odd guys that there's one of us left who still plays paintball to this day. Like, we all play, but lives it. It's his life.
Yeah.
It's not a game to him anymore. It's his whole life. 38 years old. Proud of him, man. It's something that a lot of people, like, there's always that always fear an old man in a young man's game.
And I think, Matt and I were talking about this a little bit I don't. There's a lot of that episode I actually had to cut out just because it like we're just getting so lax, so chill, and it was like, oh, we got a little too relaxed.
Yeah, no, you know what though? That's it's good that you guys can. So even the Instagram tribe, we've formed our own. There's the little Instagram tribe of memesters or meme lords, as I call you guys. Uh, you guys got to start keeping that going. You got to keep raising each other up. Share your shit posts.
Oh yeah,
It's everybody loves it. You guys have got you. I know you've been picking up in Australia lately.
yeah.
Which
It
is
somehow well, I ended up in a chat group or in an engagement group with a bunch of Australians somehow. So it like as
got your
I'm like,
passport.
yeah, that's what I told him. I was like, well, I watch Lost a lot. I love that show, and my daughter's like, Dad, we got to go to Australia. I was like, baby, we are not going to Australia. Like I saw how that show went. I have no plans of crashing on a mysterious island and traveling through time. That's
How
not on my plans. That's not on my bucket list, baby.
I am
But
not going down under. No.
but
Crocodile Dundee can keep it.
but like everyone that I've spoken to down there has been fantastic, and
Same.
you know, like being in the groups with them, you know, like one of the young ladies, she was like, just so you know, we talk a lot, and man, that first like week I was just getting notification after notification. I was like, okay, this is the enough. But I didn't want to leave the group because there were a lot of good, like, they're passing a lot of good information back and forth, lots of tutorials and memes and stuff. And I was like, this is really, really, I'm in a lot of different groups. I just don't interact in the groups. Yeah. I lurk.
Yep.
And then
I lurk. And then every once in a while I'll find a meme that I really like and I'll post it. Like, hey guys, check this out.
Like I'll give a like to it, and then next thing I know, I'm getting collabed on it. And I was like, "Ooh, and my grid is set up a certain way." So I was like, "Ooh, I wasn't quite ready for that, but thanks. I will put that in the stories."
I'm
but
sorry.
and a lot of times too, that's where
Guilty.
like
Guilty. I think I did that. That was me. Once or
well,
twice.
no, you'll tag me in something.
I've collab. I think I offered a collab once.
Did you?
Yeah. Like, when I shared the my news, when I reset everything up and was all proud of myself, he invited me on his podcast.
Like I probably. Oh no! Okay, no. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That was on Off the Mats, and even with that one, I was like, huh. Like that grid is even weirder than the BJJ Wiki grid, because Off the Mats, I think I post on there. I don't even know, like every other day now.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was trying to do what I did with BJJ Wiki and post like BJJ Wiki. I post 9 times a day now, and Off the Mats, I was trying to do the same thing. I was just like, dude, there's a lot of content, but I don't have enough time to post 18 times per day. Plus, I still have to post Colompton.
You're doing God's work.
On our beer review show. I have to post 2 posts per day there. Plus the horror podcast, I got to post 3 there. And it's just like, okay, you got to chill. Like chill for real. But yeah,
don't spread yourself too thin, because you're gonna burn out in one, and then you're gonna burn out in the next, and then you're gonna burn out in the next.
Yeah. I've had some meltdowns, but I cover it up very well. Like everything keeps rolling. It just kind of
Did you heal, or did you just mask?
Nope. I recovered. It was a matter of like what happens is the weekends I don't post.
Yeah.
No. I don't do anything on the weekends. And that was kind of like that time where, and also I figured out you can schedule the post. Like I've always known it, but I just never trusted it.
Yeah.
And then I just started scheduling things, and and also the collabs do help, because I think there was one day I got enough collabs where I didn't have to do any posts for the day myself. So there is like, I think 3 days, I want to say back in September, where out of the 9 posts that came up for the day, 7 of them were collabs. It was like, oh, and they all timed perfect. That's one after the other.
That's the dream, right? You want to set this up to be turnkey for you. You get enough podcasts in the can. Literally, you get a couple. I see this is the next one you're going to put up, which is awesome. Very
Like,
grateful. Cringe. I'm honored. I am. Very. I'm so self-aware of my own cringe. I hate. I tell everybody this. I'll say anything. I just say whatever comes out of my mind, and I think about it later. Unfortunately, and it's a superpower and a curse because it's the truth. Though it's dead honest. It's straight. I don't have time to lie. I gotta tell you exactly what I think, exactly how it is. Tell you about my scuba shoes in my car. It's honest. It's straightforward. It's definitely what do they call it? There's I can't remember. Anyways,
I mean, there is something to that though, because you never have to ask yourself where you stand with somebody who speaks their mind.
So there's a pro and con to that. There's people who aren't used to someone who's as like rapid fire straight. With the rise of Deadpool cosplaying, Deadpool was a big character of mine, and I treated it with respect, and I treated the character with respect. Some people jumped in shortly thereafter, and they treated it as a free pass to be a dickhead. They would say, "Oh, I'm doing this in character," and then they would like assault people and harass people, and it got to the point where they were like, the woman who played Vanessa in the Deadpool movies stopped doing meet and greets because all the jackasses dressed as Deadpool with bullshit requests literally pushed the actress away from meeting new fans. Like, and I treated it with like a level of respect, a level of dignity. Like this isn't just a gaff. This is like, I put time into this outfit. I put time into portraying it. We do meet and greets. We do setups. Like the Mandalorian costumes, obviously I put infinitely more time and effort into, but the Deadpool was something that I took a lot of heart because kids loved it. When I was one of the first old school classic red and black Deadpool, none of this leather and pockets, so many pockets, pouches on days. Pouches. But my feet at least looked good.
Gotta blame.
But I loved
for that. Oh, Cable.
Other
creations.
I love it. Yeah, I've got. That's the popcorn bucket. That's the limited edition popcorn bucket. I was the first in line for Deadpool 3 for the early Thursday showing that at my cinema. Like, and I got hit by a car, so I had nothing but time to go to matinees. So I got all the collector shit for it because I love Deadpool. I always have. It's always been my favorite because he was always real to the point of obnoxious, and it was. But there's an honor to it. There's a he can't. You can't lie to a liar and you can't bullshit a bullshitter. And he does neither, but somehow does everything at the same time. And it was always kind of like, I like that. He'll lie to you, but like he'll be honest about it. He'll tell you you're a piece of shit, but he'll do it in a nice way. You'll feel good about being a piece of shit when he's done with you, or you'll cut your fucking head off.
Oh, either way, it's a surprise. Deadpool, a lot of those characters. Specifically, under the Rob Liefeld umbrella of X-Force and all those like that. Those were some of the first comic books that I bought growing up. X-Force #1. I missed New Mutants '98 where Deadpool debuted, but my wife eventually got that for me for our first wedding anniversary, maybe.
That's love.
So like most of the you can't see. I gotta set my thing back up where my action figures are behind me again, but like most of the action figures in this basement, I would say a good maybe 40% of them, and there's a lot of fucking figures down here. She bought them. She sees them in the store. She'll text me a picture. Do you need this? And I'm like, that's the one. Like, there's a
lot of those are assets, though. They're not just like action figures, not GI Joes that sit in a box or get played with and fall apart. Those are going to be worth something someday. Those are investments. Those are something that if somebody broke into your house and stole them, you would be sad.
She ended up finding a figure that was 2 years past its release date, and the aftermarket price was well into the hundreds. She found it in the store. Somehow, some way. I joke about it all the time. I'm like, I bet she bought that shit on eBay and then went to the store and then held it up. I was like, is this what you're looking for? But she found it was Cyclops from the Hasbro Marvel Legends, their second X-Men wave. And then recently she found Ms. Marvel, or Ms. Marvel's Warbird outfit, and that one was a Target exclusive, and everybody bought the pre-order. So find that in the store was not something. And I went to the same Target that she went to. I went there on a Wednesday because I know that's when they put things out, and I saw
She
nothing.
fleecing you. She definitely she definitely picked that up. That's funny. That's
Uh,
good.
but she found it the next day. She
Yeah.
found it on Thursday. I was like, I was just there. But you know,
It's like the ketchup. You just didn't look in the right place.
Yeah. Well, and
Did you
that's
move the
thing.
mustard? Did you move the mustard to look for it? Did you move Cyclops to
So,
find Jean Grey, or Jean Grey to find Cyclops? No. Well, there's your problem, Dante.
well, the thing is, too, people like to hide figures, and she will go digging behind stuff and find the hidden figure. So, that's just a big part of what she does for me.
It's a big part of antiquing. My uncle and grandfather. My grandfather used to call it rubbish sale hunting, where he'd go to garage sales and find good stuff, and then he'd bring it back, and he'd have his own giant antique barn out in Mount Albert. But he taught me the art of, like, okay, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is good, but we're gonna screw with it. We're gonna tuck it back. Maybe we'll come back later if it's still here. We'll get it then. That art traveled through to pop figurines, like you were saying with action figures. People will go through like an EB Games, and there'll be a limited edition What If Carnage Deadpool tucked in the very top, in the very back. The employees do it, right? They have to keep it in inventory for a certain amount of time. They're not allowed to buy it first. They can only buy it last if it's still in the store, or they can buy it through the store internet. There's always stop. What do you call them? Stop losses, backstops. There's always ways to prevent the employees from getting it first. But that Carnage Deadpool, I've happened to find tucked up way up high. I happened to just see the little red. The box was on its side. I saw the little red head. And the guy's like, "Oh, we don't have any Deadpool pops." And I was like, "Oh, can I see that one?" Yeah. Let me get the ladder. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Give me what you owe.
Yeah, but I stopped collecting stuff. At my current partner is very modern day chic. Everything has got to be blank and empty. So like this is it. This is all I have left of my nerdom in one place.
There's like something to that though, because like there are times where I kind of crave that a little bit, but it's like I still want to have a space though, where like this basement is that space where you come down here. I have the podcasting table here. I have the 4 mics set up to the table. Lights and everything. You see the light strip behind me. I got cabinets and shelves of figures, that workout equipment, so the basement's just kind of a hodgepodge. But then like the upstairs is like that. I mean, upstairs is a hodgepodge too, but like if it were up to me, it would be like, like just sleek, and like you come in and it looks a certain way, but we're just like, what?
Like a catalog, for lack of a better, like a catalog with plants. That's what I say my upper level. It's a catalog with plants and salt, those salt rocks. Don't know why we have 5 of them, but we have 5 of them. They do something. I like them. They're fun to look at, and they make a nice ambiance. I like that like non-direct light. They make everything just ambiance, beautiful ambiance. That's the word I'm looking for.
I get you.
Direct light into the eyes. It's not good for the brain. These pot lights kill me. This is my studio. I use this very, very infrequently.
Like I'm here recording, most like I record every Friday night for one podcast. My wife and I now record every Wednesday night for the other podcast, and then this one I record whenever the guests have time. Right now I have episodes stacked, so I think I have a teammate and then you, and then I'm recording another one this weekend.
Nice, yeah.
I think so. There's a stack always rolling. So, because I mean, again, I went through a point where when I started doing this, get like people commit. They're like, yeah, I'm in, and then they wouldn't show.
Yeah.
I was like, oh fuck. So then I started stacking episodes, and it got at one point it got to a point where I had like 7 episodes, and I was like, oh shit, I got like. So when I have a guest, I'm like, yeah, so your episode's coming out in 2 months, and they're like, oh, okay, that's fine. And then
instant
now I've
gratification.
got it like
It's like those
now
tips,
down
man.
to
People
like
want those tips. They want to know, when am I getting my tip? I want my tip on next week. I want it next week. Can I get it next week, man? I got my 25 classes. I've got my 3 months in. Can I get my tip? I want my tip. Can I get my tip?
Yeah, like come on, please, please, please. I
ask
did
for
this
tips.
much.
Never ask for belts.
Like, but no, like with a lot of all of this, this is just like that comfort. Like you said, jiu-jitsu, is your form of therapy. And I've gotten shit for putting that post up. Jiu-jitsu is my therapy. And it's like whatever. People can feel how they want to feel. They go fuck themselves. Yep. But my feeling on it is like, look, I do speak to a therapist, and I use it for jokes and comedy, so I can test what I'm going to say on podcast. And it's a fair price, I think, per session. But like jiu-jitsu is therapy for me. Doing the podcast, or all of those are therapy for me. And you'll have people say, well, therapy is therapy. That's not always true, because I used to go to one therapist and I felt like that dude made life worse, to the point where we was about to throw hands.
Preaching to the choir. I'm in the middle of finding a new therapist right now, because it just felt like one of those people that was almost felt like she was typing in everything I said into a prompt and just giving me the chat GPT response, So from what you're telling me, but it's like, you know what? I don't need a parrot. If I want a parrot, I'll buy a parrot.
Dude, like, I just found out that someone,
maybe I have unrealistic expectations.
Like, I'd like to think. I honestly think that
funny, yeah.
like you go in and you're like, hey, like fix me.
I need not so much fix me, but like let's talk and find out. I don't want you to tell me what I just told you back. Like this is it. Like ask some questions, get to know me more. Isn't that how therapy works? Like I tell you what's wrong with me, what I think is wrong with me, and then like you spend some time. You don't just turn around and tell me what I just told you back, and then I wait 3 weeks for you to tell me what I just told you again.
Yeah. I just found out recently on Facebook, someone said that there are people, I guess, when you're arguing with people online, aka the trolls, they're putting things in Chat GPT and getting the responses that they. And I was like, what?
Some of them, yeah.
You can't even argue on your own. Oh my god, you guys are losers.
Oh, those are my favorite. So teaching kids is so much fun. Teaching kids paintball was so much more fun because there was kind of an understanding, more of an understanding that you're going to get hurt. So there's less safety rails with parents. So they're like, you can swear a little more, you can be a little more aggressive, you can be a little more drill sergeant-esque with their kids, and they kind of eat it up. They're like, yeah, teach my kid a little bit of discipline. He's kind of a shithead and he doesn't want to do cadets or what do you guys got? JROTC?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do cadets. He doesn't want to do JROTC. Let's do some paintball. Maybe that weird guy in the woods will knock some sense into him. And comically enough, like one of my greatest successes was one of my refs who now is like kid's like a world-class photographer, and he got into like drop shipping, buying and selling stuff. Mr. Kid, you are fucking god. He during COVID, he just sat in front of his computer one day and started learning about drop shipping, and now he travels around the world and makes $1 million a day. So proud of that kid. He just one of those people who's just like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna figure something out, and now he teaches other people how to do it. He's making it easier for other people. He's same idea. Put everything into Chat GPT. Let Chat GPT make it easier for you. I mean, buy the product, use the product, but write an honest review. Put it into Chat GPT and just let it spice it up for you.
Like for my horror podcast, that's how I do the outlines. I go to Chat GPT and I say, hey, create an outline for this. And then what I do with the outline is I look at what they present, and I'm like, I'll put in what so let's say I want to talk about we're going to be doing A Nightmare Before Christmas. Well, by the time this comes out, that episode would have been out. But Nightmare Before Christmas. So I'll say, hey, give me an outline and discuss, and the 1993 stop motion, film Nightmare Before Christmas, and then it'll give you kind of an idea of like the themes and all these
Yep.
different things. What I do is I go through, look at what they present, and then I write off of that.
Yep.
Like I'll say,
Yep.
okay, give a breakdown. So I'll do like my own little breakdown of it, and then I'll take the themes. I'll look at the themes, see what they say. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I get what they're saying there. Now because I want it to sound like my words.
Yeah.
I
Oh
don't want
yeah.
to be like, let's
Absolutely.
read, which my wife, like, I give her that. So when I do it, I
As a
type up
large language model,
her
I
part.
feel fuck. I shouldn't have read that part.
Yeah. She did that last week. She read something. I was like, God, because like, oh, what I put in, because what it does is like it tells you like how long each segment should go, and she read 10 minutes, and I was like, fuck. It was like, all right, like we don't normally edit these, but I guess I'm gonna have to edit out you saying 10 minutes because it was in parentheses. Why are you reading what's in the parentheses?
You guys know not to put that into the teleprompter. Ron can't help himself. He reads whatever you put in front of him.
And I mean, that's the thing. It's like what when I write out my stuff, it's more so for me to kind of like look at it like a cue card, just kind of get a general idea, and then I'll like talk off the top of my head. For her, I try to put it like word for word what I would say. And you can see she's clearly reading it, and it's like, hey,
that comes with time, though. She'll find her rhythm, and maybe she'll start doing her homework and read before.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I do send that shit to her like an hour before it's time to record.
So you're a bad co-host. No, I was the bad co-host. The only time I was a good co-host was like when we would do movie reviews, because I watch a movie 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and I remember everything. Every time John Wick Reloaded, how many shots he fired, who he hit, why he hit it. Did he double tap? Oh, he forgot to double tap this guy in his house. Remember the guy, he did the thing and he did the thing. He only shot him once in the chest. He didn't do this. Everybody else, even the guy who broke his neck, he shot him in the head. But this guy, he didn't. I wonder why he didn't do that. Anyways, no. So the dog got killed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like whenever we do, whenever I watch any movie, I'll have some people, not too often, but they'll send me a movie to review, which is always nerve-wracking because we're in a weird culture where people love the shit on things. That's just it's so fucking annoying. But like I will tell you honestly, like what I liked about it and what I didn't like about it. And the things that I didn't like, I'm not gonna be a dick about it for the sake of being a dick. I will let you know, like we did this movie called Older Gods.
Mhm.
And it was a good movie. It was the first time I watched it, I hated it. And I had the director on, and I talked to him, I told him, I was like, this is the first time I watched it, I actually didn't like the movie. The second time though, you take in different, you take it in differently. Then the third time I watched it, I really loved it. And the thing about all of that is like, being able to sit down with him and like really just talk horror and talk movies was fun, but also gave me an opportunity, to let him know, like when he listened to the review episode, because he said what he liked about that episode is it wasn't like a cookie cutter review. It was me and 2 friends talking shit to each other, talking about the movie in between, and then giving our genuine thoughts on it. But like, we do a segment called Good, Bad, and Ugly.
Mhm.
We give our good, and the bad and the ugly are kind of one and the same, but we're not trashing it. And there's so many people who like to review things like even when we watch Halloween Ends, which is for the most part considered the worst Halloween movie of all time. Like even as we're sitting there and we get to the scores, everyone that watched the movie with me, there's 4 of us. Everyone gave it like a 2, like 2 out of 10, and I was like, I'm going to give it a 5.5, and they're like, really? And I was like, because the thing is, it's not a good Halloween movie. It is a terrible Halloween movie. It's the worst fucking Halloween movie ever. But as a movie, if you just take away the Michael Myers aspect of that movie, it's not that bad of a movie. It's not that good of a movie, but it's not, terrible.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. I'm so glad you said that. The going back to what you said, you watched the movie the first time and you hated it. You went into that movie with expectations that weren't met.
Mhm.
You had expectations for another person's work, and they were met, so you were angry. or upset or disillusioned, whatever it could be. And you got the chance to watch it again. But the second time you watch it, maybe you saw something you didn't see the first time. The rose-colored glasses came off, so to speak, and you got to actually see through the lines, see the forest through the trees, rather, and really get a chance to watch it again. Like I hated Deadpool the first time I watched it. The new Deadpool 3, I hated it. I was like, oh, ew. They're doing this. Ew, they're doing that. Ew, oh my God. Ew, ew, ew. I cringed halfway through the fucking opening sequence. Bye. Are you kidding me? 2 seconds from X-Men 1, you're going to make a whole opening sequence based on Scott's choice of music that they skipped out of in X-Men 1. They're going to do the whole intro on fucking on Backstreet Boys. So stupid. I was hating it. And then I thought about it. Wait a minute. The whole movie is the perfect threequel. They hit every single beat. It's following George Lucas. It's following the beat. It has to rhyme. The beginning has to match the end, and the ending is a perfect shot for shot rhyme of the first movie, right down to going to Main Street to tell the story that ends on Main Street. You know, they start the movie by looking up his ass, aka straight up Main Street, and then the movie ends fighting on Main Street where he lived. It was beautiful. It was a gorgeous movie. I like now after the fourth, fifth, I watched it 8 times in theaters, and I haven't seen it. It's on Disney. I have it on I have it at home. I shouldn't be watching it in full HD. I got it. I shouldn't have it, but I got it. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't watched it at home because I watched it too many times in the theater, and I think I've seen everything, like all of the Easter eggs. I've seen every Easter egg in that movie. I don't think anything's gotten by me, right down to the roof of Wolverine's mouth has prisoner 14, the prisoner number from the Les Mis, and the roof of the mouth. First time I saw it, I was like, that wasn't his dog tag number from the first X-Men movie. And I had to go home afterwards and like, what the hell was that number? Oh, Les Mis. Fucking, of course. Call back, the whole movie.
Little details.
Oh, Gossip Girl. There was a point to that. I wanted to come back to the end of your last podcast about bringing your family into stuff and making Ryan Reynolds perfect. That movie was perfect. He single-handedly kept the film industry from striking. That one movie had so many big name actors that the Screen Actors Guild couldn't go on strike. Deadpool 3 saved the movie industry for a couple extra months and kept us all working. But he also included everybody in his family, his friends, like you do with your podcast. You've got your daughter does the intros. She comes in and bothers you, asks you wonderful questions in the middle, which is so cute. Like that's sometimes you got to get annoying. Anyways, I'm sure you want to wrap this up. But everything should be poetic. Everything should always match. The beginning should always match the end. This was awesome, man. I'm so glad you had me on.
No, I'm glad I had you on, and I love to have you back on. We could talk on many of the different podcasts I have. We could talk for hours. Unfortunately, I gotta wrap up because, as we mentioned, my daughter, I gotta go put her to bed. But Pete, thank you for making the time and doing this. And yeah, we're gonna definitely do this again. And the horror podcast, we'll talk about that because we got some stuff there we can get into. But before we get out of here,
roll together sometime soon. I'm planning a trip around, just find cool places to roll and meet interesting people, beat them up.
Hey,
or get beat Maryland. Up by. It's on the list. Like I said, I want to go down to that Ben's Chili House, so Ben's Chili Bowl. It's right not far away. Anyways,
we'll make the time. We'll make it work. But before we get out of here, shout outs, mentions.
Okay, so all my shout outs. Obviously, my school, my family at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Barry, and Lewis Karate. Mr. Lewis has probably been one of the best mentors. Mr. Smith has carried me through the ups and downs of the last year. Coach Todd, Mr. Curtis, Coach Bobby, you're the sweetest. That's kind of it. My lovely family and everybody in film that got me into it. Mr. Cody, some of the best film people. Man, I got to work for Acme Effects, one of the best film houses that did some of the greatest movies, from It to Along Came a Spider, Boondock Saints, dude. Anyways, shout outs to all my friends, family, film. Love you all. I can't get to all of you. God, Mr. Weinstein, thank you all. No, I'm kidding. You cut that part out. No, don't leave that in. That was good. Love you all. Miss you all. Thank you so much for having me on, Tante. Biggest shout out goes to you. Wiki BJJ, Off the Mats podcast. I can't wait to actually have a conversation with you off the mats.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, thank you for making the time for doing this. We're definitely gonna record again. And as always, for the listeners, thank you. If you have any questions, concerns, criticisms, anything, feel free to reach out. You can find me at bjj.wiki on Instagram or Off the Mats Podcast, also on Instagram. I want to give a big shout out to our friends over there at Nerd Rage Radio, Bobby, Chris, Joe, Ricky, Tiki, Marilyn, Phil, all those guys. Thank you. If it weren't for Nerd Rage Radio, I wouldn't be doing the podcast because sometimes I show up to theirs and then they don't want to talk about the stuff I want to talk about. So I just did my own thing. So thank you to them. Also want to give a shout out to my other podcast. As you heard us talk about scary movies and stuff. So you like horror? That's the other podcast. Go find it on Instagram. So you like horror? All the words separated by underscores. And by the time this comes out, I'm not sure what episode we're going to be working on, but you go check out the others. You know you like it. You know you like scary movies. So go check it out. And last but not least, I want to give a big shout out here to Whitey Mouse, Pete. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for making the time. And we're going to do this again for sure. We're going to talk on the horror podcast as well. Like this was a good time. So thank you for just making this a fun conversation and just sharing your story. You know, that's a big thing. So thank you. And as always, everyone, like I said, thank you very much. You guys keep listening, and we're going to definitely keep making these shows. Thank you, everybody, and bye.
Deep with it. Now let me sing a song.